week 6 of the fantasy football season. And here's a few wide receivers I would drop this week. The first guy, Juju Smith-Schuster of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So right here, reports came out yesterday. Smith-Schuster's going to be out for the season with shoulder surgery. And he took a brutal landing in that ball game versus the Denver Broncos. At first, I thought it was a knee when it happened, but he landed directly on that shoulder, and that ends the season. So that's good news for Chase Claypool and obviously Deontay Johnson fantasy owners. But Juju Smith-Schuster finishes the season once again with not a great season here in the first 5 games of the year. 15 catches, 129 yards, and a rushing touchdown. So right here, he wasn't being productive as it was as Juju. And now there's no reason to hold on to him. He's out for the season. Even in keeper leagues and dynasty leagues, he's not really a player I would hold on to and keep it. Next season, he's a free agent. And we'll see if he stays with Pittsburgh or lands somewhere else. But the last couple seasons, ever since Antonio Brown left Pittsburgh, Juju Smith-Schuster, he just couldn't step up as the number 1 guy over there. Now Pittsburgh, they still got 2 good receivers, like I mentioned, in Claypool, Deontay Johnson, and James Washington being the 3rd guy who could have some deeper league appeal. But right here, Juju's an easy drop with the season-ending injury, obviously. The next wide receiver I would look to drop this week is Josh Gordon of the Kansas City Chiefs. So Gordon made his on-field return to the NFL for like the 7th or 8th time after off-the-field issues here with the Chiefs in that Sunday night ball game versus the Buffalo Bills in Week 5. He had 1 target, 1 catch for 11 yards. And I know you should be patient with Josh Gordon. Well, we know he'll pick up the playbook, though, and then break out in Week 6 at the Washington football team. Here's Josh Gordon. But right now, most people picked up Gordon. They probably have him as a 4th or 5th wide receiver. And right now, like I said, it's going to take some time for him to get his conditioning, in my opinion. And it's going to take time for him to learn the playbook. And right now, he's up there in age. He's not the same Josh Gordon of 5-6 years ago, or even 2 years ago, in my opinion, where he was on the New England Patriots. So right now, there's better options on the waiver wire, like I mentioned in my waiver wire wide receiver video. So right here, Gordon, if you want to be patient and wait for him, that's fine. But in my opinion, I would drop him this week. And the 3rd and final wide receiver I would drop this week's Brandon Iuke of the San Francisco 49ers. So I've been talking about Iuke as a drop candidate over the last few weeks. And I know people are patient with him, waiting to see if he does anything. But right now, it's been a total mess for him this season, Iuke, with his best PPR fantasy day being in Week 3 with 14.5 fantasy points, 4 catches, 37 yards, a touchdown, and 8 rushing yards. But since then, Week 4 versus Seattle, 3 targets, a catch, and 15 yards. And Week 5 at the Arizona Cardinals, 4 targets, 2 catches for 32 yards. So right here, he's pretty much not a big factor in this offense. It's the Deebo Samuel show. I know George Kittle's on the injured reserve list, and he's going to be out 3 or 4 weeks. But now with the bye coming up here for San Francisco, and with Iuke not producing the first 5 games of the season, he's a guy you easily could go away from. And in my opinion, it's mind-boggling. He's still owned in 73% of fantasy leagues after only scoring 23 fantasy points in PPR leagues in the first 5 weeks. So that's a few wide receivers I would look to drop here in Week 6 of the fantasy football season.